Today I'm going to show you how to turn this into this. Nah, I'm just kidding. I'm going to steampunk it. For this build you're going to need... Hang on, I'm actually kind of sick of this music. Okay, there we go. Flat black spray paint, bronze and silver rub and buff metallic finish, hot glue and a glue gun, a saw, a drill, a Dremel, pliers, a screwdriver or a Phillips bit for your drill, a 10-pack of decorative nails. You're going to need to use pliers to take the spikes off the back of the nail heads, at least one film canister, a cylindrical bottle, this one's from a contact lens solution bottle, and assorted random parts. You won't need these exact parts, this is just what I gathered. The first step is to dismantle the gun. You may want to take a snapshot of the inside so you know where all the pieces go. Remove all the pieces that are visible from the outside of the gun. At this point, I put the outer casing back together and sawed off the top support. You don't need to do this, it was just a creative choice that I made. Now Dremel off the markings on the outside of the gun that identify it as a toy. You know, made in China and stuff like that. Spray paint the outside facing parts of the gun black. Now put a dab of silver rub and buff on your finger and smear it on the secondary areas of the gun. As long as you're not too thorough about this, it creates a tarnished metal look. I picked up this technique from another YouTuber by the name of Randcore Fashions. Dave Knopf of Knoptop has a similar method using silver spray paint. But this is a method that I've always used, and it seems to work pretty well. Now reassemble the gun. Make sure you reattach the slide on top of the gun to the small spring inside. I'm really proud of how it's turning out so far. I'm tempted to just leave it like this, but I said I was gonna steampunk it, so might as well. I cut the nozzle in the bottom 2/3 off of a contact lens solution bottle. Then I drilled 3 rows of holes in it. Then I spray painted it black. I gave it a rough coat of silver rub and buff. Finally, I attached it to the barrel. Next, I cut the bottom out of a film canister and glued it inside the wider heat shield part of the barrel. It's exactly the right diameter to fit over the end of the gun without blocking the darts. Next, I started gluing random parts of the gun, giving them the same black and silver paint job as the other areas. Don't try to get the rub and buff in all the nooks and crannies because the black areas add to the illusion that the gun is very old. I put this red diode on the back of the slide, I guess as an homage to my original Maverick design. For the next half hour, I tried to figure out what to add to the gun to make it look more steampunk before finally settling on a minimalist design. The last thing I ended up adding were the decorative nail heads. These are only really necessary if you were unable to Dremel off the Nerf logos, but they do add a nice bit of detail. So I think this is where I'm going to stop and call it finished. If I wanted to truly steampunk this, then I would put the bronze rub and buff on it, like I did here, and I would attach more gadgets and things. For a while I was toying with putting this hose on here, running from this up to here, and I don't know, I might do that in the future, just because it makes it look a bit more flamethrower-y, you know? But what you have to think about when you're building things like this is that the more stuff you put on here, the more you have to be cautious of like knocking this around because the stuff will break off. Like while I've been filming this, one of the gears fell off of this and it fell into that grate down there. And you just don't want to deal with malfunctions like that while you're shooting a video. It's a pain in the ass. So yeah, I'm fine with this how it is. And from what I've shown you, you can figure out how to do something that looks more like this if that's what you're going for. It still shoots. It'd be great if I had loaded it. So yeah, that's how you steampunk a Nerf Maverick. Alright, video accomplished. So thank you to everyone who commented on the last video. I read all your comments and I wrote down all the props in a list, and there were a lot of really great prop suggestions. I can definitely tell you that I'm going to build at least half of them. I can't promise that I'll do it quickly, but I can promise that my next build will be a weapon from TF2, which is really hilarious if you know me personally, that I'm building something from Team Fortress 2. Just a side note, I can build things that aren't guns. Just throwing that out there. If you want to know how to build something that isn't a gun, I can do that too. Comment away.